Hola, amigos. Welcome to the last show on Televida. Today we have a filmmaker. This is our first filmmaker. We've had a lot of comedians and other folks. Our first filmmaker. And I have, I'm kind of like this because I went to Southwest High School where Robert Altman, Academy Award winning filmmaker, went to. We have Kevin Wilmot. We have a lot of filmmakers that come to Kansas City. This one we stole from Schuyler, Nebraska. He's been around for 20 years. He's worked with all my comedian friends. This is the first time I get to meet him. His name is Patrick Ray. He's got a film coming out that we're going to show you a preview before we talk to this gentleman. It's called They Wait in the Dark. Watch this. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Now tell me about this film here. Now where is it going to be showing?
Well, first of all, it's going to have its festival premiere through a festival called Popcorn Frights. And Popcorn Frights is a festival that's actually in Miami. But they're doing a hybrid event, so they're going to do, some of the films are going to be virtual, and some of them are going to be at the theater. We're going to do a virtual screening, so people can buy tickets through Popcorn Frights. And I think we have like...
When is this?
August 15th
is
when the virtual link goes live. I think you have like a good week to watch it. So if you buy a ticket, you have some time to watch it. Which is cool because I think the virtual thing kind of opens it up so that anybody in the U.S. can watch the film. And then we're going to have our international premiere at Fright Fest in the UK in London on August 27th. So
wow, so you're going to go out there for that,
fingers
aren't you?
crossst I'm going, yes.
Don't want to bring any monkeypox back with you.
I hope not, but my wife and I are
But that would be another
going,
script for you.
That would be, yeah, that's a different, that's like Outbreak 2 at that point. But I didn't realize monkeypox was getting that serious. But
So that is the film. Well, that is great. Now I have to go back because all the other filmmakers you've interviewed, I watch they all know who you are and everything like that. But we're going to start for the beginning for our Televida. You're from Schuyler, Nebraska.
Schuyler, Nebraska. It's a very small town.
Population 5,000.
It goes up. It's like 5,000 or 6,000. But I grew up there, and it's about like an hour and 10 minutes from Lincoln.
Okay.
So if you guys know that area, it's almost like equal distance between Omaha and Lincoln. But yeah, I grew up there and started making little movies on VHS when I was a teenager. And my high school had its own channel, which was very unique.
Yeah.
So they wanted it for obviously sporting events, but I started making little weird videos and putting them on it was Channel 99 is what the name of the channel. And then from there, I went to community college in Nebraska, and then I transferred to KU.
KU, baby.
KU, and Kevin Wilmot was
he there when you were
one
there?
of my professors.
Oh
yep.
my God!
I worked on his film CSA when I was there.
You're kidding me? Confederate States of America?
Yeah. So that was around 2000 to 2002 is when I was there. So
what was the first? Because your genre is horror. Is that okay if we say that?
No, that's fine. I embrace it.
All right. What was the first horror film you made?
Oh, well, I made a bunch of short horror movies, but the first feature that I'm probably most proud of that I made was actually shot in Lawrence, mostly in Lawrence, called Nailbiter. And it came out in 2013. Lionsgate released it. It was in the Redbox kiosks. I think you can still get it on Apple TV and iTunes and stuff, but we shot it mostly in Lawrence.
How long did it take to shoot that film?
That's the thing. So because it was my first feature, it ends up taking a ridiculous amount of time. So I think we started shooting it in like 2009. And then by the time we got it all in the can, it was 2011. So then you spend another year editing it and putting it in film festivals. And then
like your Heaven's Gate here, right?
Right. Well, yeah. I'm not even sure what the cost of it was by that point. But yeah, we shot in a building in Lawrence that was used for the horror movie Carnival of Souls in the 1960s. So we were hoping that that was going to bring us good luck. But it was a building that was basically used to build organs. It was like an organ factory. And the movie, the premise...
Stop. Organ factory. Now you're a horror director.
Yeah, not human organs.
Okay,
No, musical instrument. Musical instrument. So the premise is
I asked you about organs. I'm thinking, all right, what are
I know.
they?
I
Heart,
probably should
liver,
have specified
spleen?
that it was the musical instrument. But it was right off of like Mass Street, which is like the main street
drag.
in Lawrence. But the movie is the premise is that there's this mom and 3 daughters, and they get caught up in a Kansas tornado, and they have to take shelter.
Yeah.
And then they get stuck in the tree falls on the cellar door, and then from there it turns into a monster movie. So I needed a basement or cellar that was
The old school cellar, right? Like in the movie Twist.
Yeah,
the
it
old
needed to
school
be
cellar.
bigger than a normal cellar. So
You got to get there with the crew and the lighting.
crew and lighting and all that. So we ended up finding the basement of this building in Lawrence was so spacious and had limestone, and it was really. But you shot it so that it looked like it was a small, claustrophobic cellar. And then we ended up finding a farmhouse out in the country from Lawrence to shoot the exteriors to just kind of make it all work. So by the time that movie came out, it was 2013, I think, and then it was in the Red Box. And for a while, it was playing on a channel called Chiller, which was owned by NBC Universal, and I think that disappeared in like 2017. But that was my first horror movie that I made that I'm most proud of. And then from there, I did Arbor Demon, which. I mean, we can talk about that. There's a long story behind that.
Remind me of, I saw Cujo. A lot of your films have to do with people dealing with things in enclosed spaces.
Yeah, and part of that's out of necessity, out of the fact that like I'm trying to do these movies on a very small budget, but also I felt like
it means you
sometimes
get more from
horror,
your actors?
They call it the container horror movie, something where they're trapped in a small space and they have to a predicament that they have to get out of. Like Saw is kind of like one of the most famous ones like that. But with Arbor Demon, which was called Enclosure when we shot it, which was it was about a married couple that are trapped inside of a tent, and there's some creatures circling the tent, and they end up taking an injured hunter in with them, and so they're kind of all three, and it becomes kind of like a play at that point between the 3 actors. We had Jake Busey as the villain, and Fiona Dourif plays the main character, and she's obviously Brad Dourif's daughter. He's the voice of Chucky, and and we shot that movie in 12 days in South Carolina. But we shot in like December, I think, of 2015. So it was really interesting because we're shooting in Charleston, South Carolina, and it's almost Christmas, and it's still like 70 degrees, and we're filming.
There's actual creatures in the woods in South Carolina too. And
we couldn't actually camp out because they were like, they're wild boars. They just kind of run through.
Exactly. Yeah, no, don't worry about them.
But we shot that movie, and then that got released in 2017, and it actually premiered at the same festival that we're premiering our new movie at in London, Fright Fest. So yeah. And
what is that like? Is there anything like that? Our viewers are primarily in Kansas City. What is the Kansas City equivalent of Fright Fest? The Kansas City equivalent.
I mean, there is a Panic Fest, which is actually really, really good, and it's at Screenland Armour, and it's gotten better and better every year, and it's gotten to be one of the top horror festivals in the country. And that's usually in March, I believe, March, April. I mean, the dates shift, but I've screened there several times. And that's a great festival. So I would say Panic Fest is probably the equivalent, the Kansas City equivalent.
Yeah, I was telling you earlier what I like about your films. You're kind of like a Cajun chef. You take these ingredients, enclosed space, really good actors, and then the thing that I don't understand is you always have to find a way to scare them from a different angle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And is that the hardest part?
I think so. I mean, for me, it's always trying to come up with some type of original movie that has like an original vantage point. Like, I mean, for me, Enclosure had a different take because it was a married couple trapped inside, and you're mostly inside of a tent, so it's very claustrophobic. It's not like a typical camping movie where they're out all the time running around through the woods. With They Wait in the Dark, the premise of They Wait in the Dark, it's a mom and her adopted son. And she's on the run from her ex-girlfriend. So there's a domestic thriller aspect to it. So she ends up coming back to her childhood home in like Topeka, Kansas, outside Topeka, Kansas, where we shot the film. And it becomes kind of a haunted house movie at that point. There's a supernatural element to it at that point. So you've got the threat inside the house, and you've got the threat of the ex-girlfriend on the outside of the house. So it
And
traps
then you
the
narrow
character.
in on the tension and
Yes,
the actor.
exactly. So I was trying to, for me, like the biggest thing about haunted house movies, I was like, why do the people stick around? If you find out your house is haunted, just leave.
Yes.
Right.
So black people do, by the way. Black
Well,
people
right,
never.
right.
Yeah.
I mean, the one movie that makes it work is Poltergeist, because their daughter disappears, and the
Yeah.
only way they can communicate with their daughter is through the television, so they can't leave. But like, I watch all these ghost stories, and I'm like, man, the second something like that happens, I'm out. I'm gone.
I'm out.
So my idea was I needed to come up with some reason why
But
she
an Arbor
stays.
Demon, they can't because it's outside.
The
By the way, did
creatures
that
are-
ever play in the Arby Museum in Nebraska, that Arbor
It's
Hotel?
so funny because the title was not my idea. So I come from
Nebraska.
the state of Arbor Day, right? And the title was changed. Really, I didn't have much input in the title change. It was called Enclosure. That when the distributor picked it up, they're like, well, we have to have an A title, because at that point in 2017, everything was alphabetized with video on demand. So they're like, we need an A title. So they came up with the A title, and they put it on the.
And you just drove the truck on your whole estate and the whole Arbor thing. You didn't care.
At that point, I was like, well, I guess this is the. And the funny thing is, a lot of people like the title, and I was not crazy about it. But
I like it.
yeah. And then it's funny because after that movie, I ended up doing a family film. So
The one about the dogs?
yes, a little self promotion though. Arbor Demon.
Let's talk what because you can find this film because that's the one.
Arbor Demon's
Well, Arbor Demon, but what's the one about the dogs? I just
Belong to Us,
Belong to Us.
which was also shot in Kansas City.
Okay.
And it was one of those things where I was approached to direct it, and I needed a change. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to do a horror movie. I'll do a family movie. And we shot that 2016, and then it came out. Well, it took a couple of years because I do all my own editing, so it takes a little bit of time.
You know what I think's fun, and actually our director here directs films, Joseph, does it. I love it when I see a local film and I notice I know where they are. It's just kind of fun.
Right.
For me to say, oh my God, that's downtown.
Right.
Oh my God, that's Westport. Oh my God, that's here. That's there.
Yeah, I mean, we used a lot. Obviously, I've shot Belong to Us, Nail Biter, I Am Lisa, and Now They Wait in the Dark all around this area. So it is kind of like a thing where you can look at and see a lot of recognizable places. So my challenge is always to find something that hasn't been used before in another movie. So Belong to Us we shot in 2016, and it came out around 2019. And that movie's available on Peacock. I don't know if you have the Peacock streaming service. Arbor Demon's on Paramount Plus. It was on Hulu when it first came out, and then they moved it to Paramount Plus. And then in 2019, I shot a movie called I Am Lisa, which was I was approached by the writer who also was a producer on the movie, and it's like a werewolf revenge movie, but female driven. So primary cast was female, and we ended up getting it completed in 2020, which was when things stopped. And we were able to do a premiere at the Boulevard Drive-In, and we ended up.
I love the Boulevard Drive-In.
We ended up having like 340 cars show up for the screening. It was July of 2020. I think people were getting stir crazy in their homes, so everybody showed up at the drive-in. And then we ended up also premiering it at Fright Fest, but that was the year Fright Fest was virtual. So the only way you could see the movie at that premiere was if you were in the UK and they did a virtual premiere. And then that movie got picked up by a distributor later that year, and it was in the Redbox kiosks nationwide. And I think it's still in a few of them right now. And now it's on Peacock. So I have 2 movies on Peacock right now. So
Well, one I want to talk about before we kind of take a left turn, for a guy who does horror films, you use a hell of a lot of comedians, man.
I do.
What the hell's out with that?
I mean, I think horror and comedy are very, very close.
They
are.
both, they are here. But actually, to lead into that, because you also do a nice mix of horror and humor.
Donald,
What is it, Millie?
I think we're stuck.
Well, I'll be dipped in shit.
I'll call 911.
Probably pushed the button too many times, Millie. Guess the elevator's confused.
It's not ringing.
Use your good ear.
What time is the reunion?
6.
Nothing.
Nothing? Did you dial the right number?
911.
I'm sure the building will send someone to find us. You just have to be patient.
I'll twit that we're stuck.
What?
Twit.
She meant tweet. It's something our grandson taught her. She does it every 5 minutes.
Hope we get to the reunion before old Dickerson drinks up all the beer.
He died last month.
What?
Yeah, heart attack. Didn't you get Carol's text?
I don't have a cell phone. No kids, no grandkids. Who the hell is gonna call us?
Do you have email?
No, just satellite cable. Gotta get my Sean Hannity.
Right.
You know, we like to keep to ourselves. Even coming to the reunion is a big risk, but, you know, old Levi Cummings still owes me money. If he doesn't pay up this time, he's gonna get a whooping from me. Or worse, Millie.
He died too.
What?
3 months ago, stomach cancer.
I sent you a Facebook message.
I don't have Facebook.
Oh, must have been another Donald Benson. I didn't think it looked like you.
The son of a bitch owes me 10 grand.
Hello. You guys all right in there?
Yes, we're fine. It's getting a little warm in here, though.
We got a technician on the way.
How long will that take?
Oh, 30 minutes or so.
You gotta be kidding me.
Well, we apologize for the inconvenience.
I'll bet.
Till then, sit tight, and thank you for choosing Barry Towers.
Thanks for nothing.
Well, looks like we have some time to catch up.
Wonderful.
You know, you and Millie seem like you would have been great parents. Why didn't you have any kids?
Well, we're gonna go there, are we?
I bet he shoots blanks.
Carol, don't be rude.
Donald Benson shoots blanks. Hashtags. Oh.
Just, we haven't seen each other in 40 years. Thought I'd ask.
It's none of your damn business, Fritz.
Fine. If you're interested, we have 4 kids. 2 boys, 2 girls, and 10 grandkids. Show them the pictures, honey.
They're lovely. My grandson Noel, he's a pediatrician.
Fantastic.
And this is Chase. He's, well, he's an asshole. We don't talk to him much. And this is Rebecca. She just married her girlfriend Jennifer in a civil union. If I hadn't met Fritz, I probably would have ended up with a woman.
I'm gonna need that drink. What's wrong? You're making me nervous.
Oh, it's nothing.
Don't be coy with me, Millie. What's wrong?
I don't have my pills.
Yeah, give me that.
I've already looked.
What's this? Here's the bottle right here, but it's empty.
Donald, calm down.
You're hurting me. Let me go.
How could you do this? When did you take the last
I
one?
don't know.
When?
I told you I don't know.
What the hell's gotten into you?
I'm sorry.
Millie, where'd you get those bruises?
I fell off my bike.
Did you do this to her? Maybe you're the one who should be on medication.
Donald Benson is a wife beater. Hashtag stuck in elevator.
Millie, this fell out of your purse. So who's the kid?
No one. It's a nephew. Kid was a brat.
I see.
His name was Sam. He was a good boy. Never hurt a fly. Don't touch me.
So, who wants to play some cards? Carol's got them in a purse.
But I want to play Candy Crush on my phone.
Honey, we should share.
I don't want to play.
Fine. You don't have to. Millie? Well, you guys are no fun.
Why did Sam have to leave us?
Come on, Millie. They don't want to hear about our problems. Especially something that happened so long ago.
Yes, we do.
I'm going to ask you again. When did you take your last pill?
I don't know.
Did you try again, goddammit?
That's enough.
I'm gonna send this video to the kids.
Hey, come on. Who do you think you are?
You don't know what's going on here.
Oh, I remember now. I took my last pill about a week ago. I took it with some brandy from that cupboard above the stove.
A week. A whole week.
Millie, you don't look well.
I feel fine. Just a little hungry. Starving.
Oh, shit. That's not good. You gotta hurry up. My wife, she's sick.
Sir, we're moving as fast as we can.
Well, you gotta move faster, you jackass. We don't have much time.
We'll be there in about 20 minutes.
We don't have 20 minutes, you boob.
Boob.
Millie, you're burning up.
I gotta get out of here. Hey, maybe I could climb out that way.
How?
You could lift me.
I have a bad back.
You, the sports legend of our class.
I'm also 67 years old.
You're also a pussy.
What was she taking? You're breaking out in some kind of rash. Is it hives or shingles? They look like upside down T's.
I didn't mean to do it. He just looked so tasty.
Oh, sweet Mary of mercy.
What are you talking about?
He was such a tasty morsel, just like the others, tasty like gingerbread.
Get away from her, Fred.
I just love children. Too bad there won't be any at the reunion. Just tough old meat like beef jerky.
Millie, you're so funny.
What is she talking about?
I warned you.
Warn me of what?
I can usually control her if she takes her pills. I used to have to tie her up in the basement and feed her peach schnapps. So then we switched to this medication I was getting from a witch doctor. She's supposed to take 2 a day with meals, but non-human flesh meals, of course.
Do you have any peach schnapps now?
No.
How long has she been like this?
Oh, since we met. I used to think it was kinky in our younger years. Yeah, every relationship has its problems, right?
Yeah, but
I cast you out, evil spirit.
Carol,
That's probably not gonna work.
you want to step away from her, honey? Oh,
What are you doing?
finishing her tweet. She would have wanted that.
Millie? Millie? Millie, I have been putting up with your antics for 45 long years. It no longer gets me off. It's ending tonight.
Please don't hurt me, Donald. Not again.
Hi, guys.
I like that. It's hell getting. I'm actually not that far from the union. That kind of scares me. Tell me about that. It's all in an elevator.
It's all in an elevator.
There's
yeah.
a lot of comic elements in that. Who were the actors that provided that?
Joyce Appel, Nancy Marcy, Kip Niven, and Victor Rader Wexler. And I think Victor Rader Wexler is in a couple shows, or he's in a lot of shows right now. Unfortunately, Joyce has passed away, and so has Kip Niven. So very sad. But we shot this short film like 2015, so it was a few years ago. And
All right, how'd you get the old lady on the ceiling?
that was a cheat. She's actually just backed up against a wall. We made it look like.
So you got upside down, or how's that work?
Well, actually, we just put her on the wall, shot, and then made it look like that was the ceiling. So,
Okay.
and then we had him look up, so the audience thinks immediately, okay, But we shot that in an elevator at this old Screenland Crossroads. And it was lucky. We were lucky to have like a freight elevator, so we could open both sides.
How long did that take?
That took 2 days to shoot.
Because it's claustrophobic.
It's very claustrophobic, but it didn't feel that way because we were shooting on a freight elevator. We could open up doors on one side, and the crew could be on one side. And then when we flipped to the other side of the shooting, we could then move.
The thing that I think is amazing about this, and with a lot of your shorts, is in a short amount of time you have to develop a sense of foreboding.
Right.
For the viewer, it's like
there's a
okay.
beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
And I tell people you could short films have to have a beginning, middle, and end. I mean, 30-second commercials have beginning, middle, and end sometimes. So, yeah, it's complicated because I don't like to spend too much time because then the audience starts to kind of lose interest.
Catch up.
So I try to keep it to 10, 15 minutes. 15 minutes max, usually.
And then because I watch Fuse, and then you come up with these weird. You talk about weird angles where a twin is trying to eat. What is the term for that? I know it's been years ago.
Yeah, it was. It's funny because I saw it on a talk show where somebody basically they have
devours their own twin inside the womb.
Inside the womb, but they develop a pigment thing with their skin, and that's what I wanted to kind of focus on was the main character in Fused, played by Sarah McGuire, who's also the lead in They Wait in the Dark. She has basically a split personality, but it's her twin. And so she has this kind of this dividing line down her face of this pigment, which is a true thing. Like I've seen it on various shows and stuff. It's an actual medical condition. So it was interesting making a horror movie that
So
was
did you
based on
start with the idea about the condition?
Yes.
And then work your way backwards?
Totally, yeah. I saw that.
This
I'm
is
like, that would
weird,
make
and
an
I work
interesting
my
horror
way
movie.
back.
Yeah.
How do I use that?
And it's funny because without giving it away, there was a horror movie that came out 3 years later, without saying the title, because that's part of the twist, that does something similar with the twin, being consumed by the other, and then there being a kind of a split personality. But our movie was we started shooting it in 2018, so it was about 3 years before that movie came out. So I was like, all right, okay.
Well, I always tell my wife the reason I'm so big is I consume my twin in the body, and I still have him in here. He is just one. He has a voracious appetite. Let's talk about, because I'm a stand-up comedian, the comedians you use. First of all, you work with my good friend Jerry Rapp, who we got started together at 18 back in the 80s, and I did a lot of his student films and everything like that. He did a film he wrote that you directed called The View from Here.
The View from Here, yeah, and it is a beautiful short film.
It is.
He sent me the script, and I'm like, I have to do this, and it's based on a fable. We shot that short film in the West Bottoms in Kansas City. We did the whole thing in one day. And I was telling you the funny story. We shot it above an axe throwing place. And so we were kind of in a rush to get all the audio recorded before that place opened, because otherwise you were just going to hear axes hitting a target over our dialogue. But we cast Joseph Anderson, and he plays a character who's been
I've seen him now.
in a riot. He actually plays The Rock's dad on Young Rock. So he's also in Belong to Us. And he's bedridden, and he's in this hospital, and then there's this man,
Walter Coppage,
who's describing,
former comedian too,
describing what he sees out the window to Joseph's character, and Joseph can't look out the window, so he's basically
in vivid detail-esque. All I can say, it's in almost a Morgan Freeman end of Shawshank-esque, where he paints.
Exactly.
I want to see if the water's as blue as you know what I mean, kind of.
And it was a great experience because, I mean, the good thing about working with those two actors is that because I had such a short period of time to shoot, Trevor Hawkins was my DP and he did a fabulous job. And we actually filmed in their offices when they had office space in the West Bottoms, and they converted it to look into like a hospital. And I had these two actors who nailed every take, and so
they're very easy to work with.
Because that makes it, I work with these very short schedules where I only have like 12 days to shoot a feature, so casting is very important. I don't have time to do.
Well, speaking of
15 takes.
speaking of casting, because you cast another comedian friend of mine who was on a previous show, Aaron Gnerka's a dead body. How did
Yes.
he do? Did he nail that?
This was 2007. This was years ago. I made a short film called Shed Out of Luck, and it's about a guy basically who's been held captive. He's a hunter, and he's in a hunter outfit, and he's being held captive by the animals that he's been hunting. And
How does Aaron's dead body come into the play?
what did we used meat and all this gross stuff on his chest to make it look like his guts had been, so he's decomposing outside of the shed.
Aaron plays the decomposing thing. Well,
Decomposing
that's a
body,
stretch.
and
That's a stretch.
Kurt Hanover is the lead, and he's a local actor, but that short film, it's so funny. I made that. That has been 15 years ago.
Well, I'm gonna just get ready. I'm gonna go through every comedian. Michael Joyner in Vindicated.
Vindicate, yes. That was a short film that I did for a web series that was all done locally called Withered World. And each story was supposed to kind of take place during the end of the world.
Well, I think you one-upped yourself there because no dialogue.
No dialogue. That was my challenge. I wanted to do no dialogue. I wanted to do some Steadicam work. And we shot that thing all in, I think that was a one-day shoot too. And each filmmaker who was involved with Withered World, they were tasked with the idea of coming up with an original story that takes place during the end of the world. And so my idea was that this guy was basically going after
The person who killed his wife
person
and
who
daughter.
killed in a car accident and during the end of the world. And it's like this thing where, if you commit revenge at the end of the world, does it really matter to commit the crime? So it was very interesting. Michael was great to work with, and
I just worked with him the other day as a comedian. So speaking of comedians, actually, I've got Jake Johansson and Emery
Yes.
at the Uptown Theater. Now, this isn't a horror film. This is
it was a stand-up comedy show, right?
Yeah.
And Emery approached me about it, and we'd been friends for years.
Emery of the Aristocrats.
He edited
Local
The
editor,
Aristocrats. Great guy, and he approached me about helping him with this Jake Johansson comedy special. I think it was called Jake Johansson, I Love You. And we shot it at the Uptown Theater during one of his live performances. And
Funny guy, nice guy.
Funny guy.
From Iowa, a state adjacent state to you.
Nice, okay. So he's like the neighboring state, exactly.
And then another one, Brad Meehan.
Brad Meehan, I've worked with
Get
him
Off
several
My
times.
Porch.
I made a short film called Get Off My Porch in 2009, which is kind of like this Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt story where this guy is basically being harassed to buy Girl Scout cookies. But we never called them Girl Scout cookies because
Yeah, I know.
it's trademarked.
A matter of fact, very often, because your actors are very good, but
Yeah.
there's a scene of a fat neighbor eating cookies in the yard. I could have done that.
Just staring.
I was born to eat cookies in my robe.
So the idea is that obviously these adventure girls, not Girl Scouts, are basically start harassing this guy who's like a kind of like get off my porch. He wants these kids to leave him alone. So and then it gets creepier. And
Slow
weirder.
build.
Slow build, and then the adventure girls kind of break into his house and force him to eat cookies
And then everybody, like the Twilight Zone.
It turns into like body snatchers
Everybody,
at that point,
everybody's in. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Boy, we could talk
and we
so
shot
much about
that in Shawnee Mission in 2009, and it still seems to get play, which is good. I mean, it's always nice when you make a short film and years later people still talk about it. So
Well, they're timeless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? None of the things you've done are timestamped. And that's because horror, that emotion,
right, right.
unlike comedy, because some bits get dated,
Or
people are always going to be scared of what's out there in the woods.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Absolutely.
2050.
Absolutely.
I don't care. We have one more clip that we're going to play on. It's called "I Am Lisa" on the way out here, and
it's a trailer for I Am Lisa.
that's right. All three of us are going to watch it. Me, you, and Guillermo, who's my patron saint of bilingual talk show hosts.
Amazing,
This
amazing.
is Spanish, and anyway, you get the deal. So tell me about I Am Lisa before we lead out.
I Am Lisa is a female-driven horror movie where the primary cast is female, the villains are female, and it's a revenge horror movie with some werewolf supernatural elements to it. And we shot it all in Kansas City, and it's available on Peacock. It's on Redbox on demand. It might still be in some of the Redbox kiosks and stuff. And it recently was added to Amazon's new streaming service, which is called Freevee. And I've got several of my movies on Freevee now. So, but yeah, look it up, and it's kind of a fun. It feels kind of like an '80s throwback. The movie. It has kind of a synthesizer. I can't say the word. A synth score.
A synth score. Okay.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, Patrick, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to watch this promo of I Am Lisa. Patrick Ray, thank you for being on the live show.
Appreciate it.
We'll see you later.
I knew you and Sarah were up to something. I was always listening. All those nights together. How do you know it wasn't me? Could have killed you so much sooner. I just didn't want to leave a mess in our apartment. One more kiss. For Sarah. My name is Beth. My name is Sarah. No.
From all evil, deliver us, O Lord. From all sin, from your wrath, from sudden and unprovided death, from the snares of the devil. By your birth, your baptism, and holy fasting, by your cross and your passion, by your death and burial, by the coming of the Holy Spirit, the advocate, on the day of judgment, we sinners, we beg you to forgive us. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. our daily bread, and forgives us our trespasses, just as we forgive those who trespass against us.
First rule.
Don't drop the cross.
I don't care if it's a Category 5 hurricane. Don't let go. 90 seconds. That's how long it took for her to break free and knock your ass to the ground. Straighten up. Fall in. Now here we are, 3 weeks into our training, and not one of you has been successful at cleansing Angela here. Her parents have entrusted us with the task of getting her clean. And the only way to get her clean is to stay focused. Comprende? Something funny, Pencil Dick?
No, ma'am.
That's sir.
Sir.
Trainee, are you chewing gum?
No.
Let me remind all of you of why we're here. You are private citizens being ordained specifically for one reason and one reason only: